Wrestling with wrestling's past and present.
How old were you?
I was -3.
JR is trying to contain Jim Ross.
McFlurry,
It's Mick Foley. Definitely not his, the barn burner that Leif Cassidy and Tiger Alley Singh was, but, we'll leave that there.
We digress.
God, I hope that storyline ends soon.
And 6 to 8 weeks later, they'd mail you a freaking magnet.
Yep. You may know him as the Red Rooster.
Hager kept making out with his wife. It was weird. So then, I'm waiting for them to put the Selena Vega on a pole match for that to be. It is in the mail, my good sir. Oh, it wasn't Paul. Giving us a reason to come here and listen to ourselves talk.
Absolutely,
and then you can listen to us too. We're off to a rough start.
This is Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present. I'm Tim Kurt.
I'm Roland Fulis.
And I'm Mongo.
And today is all about WrestleMania 37. On today's episode, we're going to give you our rundown and predictions. And next week, we're going to recap and see how right or wrong we are.
It's WrestleMania!
Anyways, this is the Super Bowl of wrestling. So we'd be stupid to miss an opportunity to talk about the Super Bowl of wrestling. Plain and simple. If you're any podcast this week or next week that doesn't either recap it or predict it, we're going to do both because we're studs. You'd be missing an opportunity. This is what WrestleMania week's all about.
Absolutely. What can you say more? It is the grand showcase. It is the spectacle it is. I said in the group chat the stage reveal. That thing looks awesome. You have, spoiler alert here, a giant pirate ship, because we knew they would because it can't use Tampa's, that has the cannon fireworks that's going to go off. And that just seems awesome. That's what I love. I can't wait to watch the visual experience. And maybe the storylines might not always be what we want, but the show's still a spectacle, and it's still fun to watch. And more non-wrestling fans watch WrestleMania because it's a friggin' spectacle.
Well, and that's why they bring in people like Bad Bunny and Logan Paul. They try to get people that don't normally watch it to. It doesn't matter quite as much now where you're not getting the pay-per-view buys anymore. You used to get all the buys, so that would be what they were doing it for. I know they're wanting eyes on it, but I would imagine it doesn't profit them quite as much as it used to.
No, it makes sense. When I went to Mania 24, they had Floyd Money Mayweather versus The Big Show. 34 technically was Ronda's first involvement, so I was like kind of a celebrity turned wrestler. So there's always some sort of element. Arnold Schwarzenegger bringing out Triple H. So I've never really minded the celebrity involvement. It's more of who they use. Like, as we said, now I'm not going to go into a diatribe about it, but Logan Paul's just a human piece of garbage. Google him.
Yeah, I think
I will, not to cut you off, Tim. I will say it's funny how even Logan Paul doesn't want to associate with Sami Zayn. He's trying not to. It's funny. But anyway, sorry, Tim. I didn't mean to.
No, I was just going to say, I think there's a big difference between the names you mentioned, Mako and Bad Bunny and Logan Paul.
Yeah. Although Bad Bunny is now in a Corona commercial.
Yeah.
That I saw.
So is any Tony Romo's coming next year?
You never know.
Well, he already likes to predict football plays, so wrestling's a no-brainer for him.
There you go. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
So if you don't know by now, you obviously haven't paid attention, but WrestleMania is 2 nights this year. So we're going to break this down night 1 and night 2 for you guys. So let's get right into it. Night 1, and we're going to kick things off with the WWE Championship match between Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. I'm pretty sure it's been announced that this is starting the show off tonight. And also, just so you know, special start time, the show starts at 8 o'clock, not 7 like the previous pay-per-views have been. It's starting at 8 o'clock, just FYI. I think this is going to be a great match to start off the show if they go in that direction. I've had a funny feeling about this one, though, and I don't know if I'm way off base, but I have a feeling that Brock Lesnar might get involved here, make his return, and cost McIntyre the titles. They just put the title on last year. I don't see them switching it back to Drew right now, but I can see Brock coming back and costing Drew here, and I think Bobby Lashley's going to retain.
Well, and it would make sense too, based on the fact that Lashley has been trying to find someone to take out McIntyre. So that's actually a good point. I'm with you though. I don't see the point in pushing Lashley to the moon the way they have been to just take the title off him. That he has his own entrance thing now, where like they do this promo video of him, and then he comes out before like it's so. Why would they go to that limit unless they're just going to make it so McIntyre can slay him and have his WrestleMania moment? I mean, they could do that too. I mean, you never know what Vince McMahon's thinking, but I find it hard. I don't want to pick a winner per se, but I'm going to say that because I don't want to say that, you know, this is going to happen a certain way, but I'm with Tim. I don't see them switching the belt. I don't know if it's going to be a DQ. So technically McIntyre wins, but he doesn't get the belt. But yeah, I think Lashley leaves WrestleMania with the title.
I've flip-flopped on this, you know, it's way too many times because it could go either way, and both ways make sense storyline-wise if you book it right. One of the things I was hoping for is the Hurt Business is not actually broken up, and it's a swerve to screw McIntyre over, which kind of goes what you both just said about it doesn't make sense to take it off Lashley when he just got it. I mean, the dude literally has been there since 2004 and had to leave and come back. So he's been there. He's been at the mountaintop. Excuse me. Sorry, I kind of rambled on there. But why are we going to take it right off him just to give Drew McIntyre a pop? It's kind of unfair, but prediction-wise, unfortunately, I think Drew McIntyre, because Vince wants to give him that moment that he didn't get last year. I don't think that's a good booking decision, but I'm saying Drew McIntyre, unfortunately.
It's a swerve, bro.
Next up is a tag team match between Bad Bunny and Damian Priest against The Miz and Morrison. I'm not really looking forward to this one at all. I don't think this is going to be a great match. I think it's going to be really predictable. I think they're going to put Bad Bunny over here somehow and Damian Priest. But yeah, this one, I could probably do without this match at WrestleMania.
They could have had this match on SmackDown yesterday.
Yeah.
I had more interest in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal than I'm going to have this.
Yeah.
You think they got the water-based finger paint off that car yet? I'm just wondering because it was so water soluble. It wasn't paint. It was
$3 million car, whatever it was.
3.6, 3. What I mean, they kept changing the price. You know, it's fine.
Watercolors at Dollar Tree have more consistency than that friggin'
paint. That paint was not paint. I mean, it was, but it wasn't like you went to Home Depot and bought a gallon of paint. Put it that way. So I don't see any other way possible. They've built this up so much that you can only go one way with it. I don't see how McIntyre. I don't see how wrong match, but it's the same thing. I don't see how, unless the Miz and Morrison win by, some shenanigans, I don't see how Bad Bunny and Damian Priest don't go over here. I don't.
I agree with you. It wouldn't make any sense this is WrestleMania. This is where you have your payoffs. This is where you have usually your baby faces go over. Spoiler alert if you've never watched WrestleMania in your life, but usually the baby faces go home. The crowd tries to leave happy. You leave that kind of shenanigans for Fastlane or the C-level pay-per-views. So I don't think they're going to spoil Damian Archer's debut here. I mean, Punishment Martinez, Archer, whatever you want to call him, he deserves his WrestleMania moment. So I think obviously Bad Bunny's is pinning whoever and taking the win, but this way Archer gets his moment. I think he's going to showcase himself. I think he's just going to annihilate the Miz and Morrison basically, and they're going to do some chicken shit heel stuff and run around, but it's just going to be more of a spectacle because they're just going to have Bad Bunny do one or two things and pin the Miz.
Yeah, I would imagine that's the main reason why they waited so long to make it a tag match too, is that they wanted to have the singles match, and they also realized that they can't have Bad Bunny just beat the Miz. Like, that's horrible booking. You can't just be like, oh, this guy beat the Miz. He's a 2-time Grand Slam champion. So they had to. I know the rumor was it was going to be that from the get-go, but I feel like, they thought maybe they didn't need it, but then they realized they're like, we can't have Bad Bunny beat the Miz clean. Like, we can't do that. So yeah, I think for what, for everybody that badmouths the Miz and thinks for what he does for the company, I mean, he should be in the Hall of Fame now just for the bullshit he's had to put up with for some of the stuff that, I mean, I'm not saying he's the world's best wrestler because he's not, but some of the short straws that poor guy draws are, it just, ugh. But anyways, at least he didn't get punched in the nose by Mayweather. Sorry, Big Show.
Next up is the tag team match for the Raw Tag Team Championship. You have the New Day, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods taking on AJ Styles and the debuting Omos. This one I'm kind of going back and forth with. The New Day haven't had the titles all that long here, but I have a sneaky suspicion that they're going to put Omos over here. I think AJ Styles and Omos are going to win.
Yeah, I don't. This is one of those ones that I'm not really sure. You can tell they had to throw something together for AJ Styles to have a WrestleMania match, which is why they took the titles off the Hurt Business and put it on the New Day, because they didn't want the Hurt Business to face Styles and Omos.
Mm-hmm.
And they also didn't want the Hurt Business to face the New Day at WrestleMania. So it seems like a cluster, and I don't know. I hate to think that they're going to put Omos and AJ Styles over in Omos's first match. We don't even know what he can do. But it's the WWE, and I just don't know. As much as I'm an AJ Styles fan, I'm going to say the New Day retains.
This match it's like you said, it's a cluster. Like, you have a whole year to think of your WrestleMania storylines. Vince is always thinking WrestleMania when he, starts feuds, stops feuds, blah, 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 blah. All the rumors and innuendo to steal another show's little trope there has pointed to they had nothing for AJ. And I don't understand, because this dude's busted his ass. He hasn't stopped since he's arrived. He's had some injuries here and there, but I don't think I've seen him take a break. And, yes, this is a cool way to get him Grand Slam champion, which is why I'm making them my pick, because I think this way gives AJ the Grand Slam champion moment, like they did with Seth at WrestleMania 34. Repeat booking. I mean, this feels like WrestleMania 35, because we're starting off with a title match, so the villain can be conquered potentially, and we're ending, spoiler, with the women's main event. So it feels like WrestleMania 35, which was a really mixture of a booking, but had Kofi Mania, and they kind of teased that. But why didn't they resolve that storyline? So it just, I feel bad for everyone in this match. I mean, almost that's high stress on someone. Oh, let's have your debut at WrestleMania. No pressure. This match shouldn't happen. Like you said, it should have been the Hurt Business and the New Day, because then Kofi still could have his WrestleMania moment by keeping his tag team with his best friend. I mean, tag team title, excuse me. It just, yeah, my pick is going to be AJ and Omos, but it shouldn't be thrown together this way. It bothers me. This match bothers me.
Well, and so let's fantasy book for a second here. If you have the New Day against the Hurt Business, and let's just say for a while they were kind of teasing the New Day breakup, and they've already moved Big E kind of away, but he's still in the New Day, whatever. This could have been the perfect time for Woods to turn on Kofi. Say they lose or whatever, and so like there's so many more options. You could have had them win clean, and like you said, have his moment too. Or you could have had, God forbid, you have the Hurt Business win a match at WrestleMania. Holy shit, we can't do that. Shelton Benjamin, we can't. They finally find something for these poor guys to do, and then Vince is like, nope, just kidding. So like, I just, I know this isn't about, but like it, the only reason that makes any sense for AJ to win this match is what Mongo said, for the Grand Slam thing. But for my, I'm just going to say, like I said, I'm going to say the New Day only because I hate when they bounce titles around.
Yeah. I mean, quick little poll here. Who does more breakups of major factions or marriages, Vince McMahon or J-Lo?
Yeah. Good point.
Like, hey, this is a great faction. Damn it, it's gone.
Yeah. I don't like the way Shelton Benjamin has no hair. He looks like Bobby Lashley, except shrunken down in a fucking dryer. We're gone. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
I mean, and then not to go back to a match, but like I said, Bobby Lashley and McIntyre both had to go to Impact, win the championship, come back to be taken seriously. It's just this night one, I'm sorry, is a cluster for me so far. So there's only really maybe one match that I'm looking forward to, which I'll let Tim segue into, but there's really, it's just kind of meh. This whole thing just feels so thrown together, like you said earlier.
Yeah, night one seems like a pre-show.
Yeah. Next up is a steel cage match between Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. I don't know. I don't like what they're doing with Braun Strowman. They're making him, to quote Shane McMahon, look stupid.
Braun. Yeah.
I think they're totally misusing Braun Strowman here. I don't know if WWE's got something against him, if he's being punished or something. It seems that way. And for that reason, I think Shane's going to win here by hook or crook. I know it's a steel cage match, so you can win by escape or something like that. I think there's going to be some sort of shenanigans involved here, and I think Shane's going to win.
Would it surprise you if Elias came out and handcuffed Braun Strowman a la Jey Uso?
No.
To Kevin Owens? Would that surprise you? No, it wouldn't, because A, they've already done it, and B, they repeat book shit all the time.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, to not put it in a Hell in a Cell or something like that where it was kind of confined makes it so Shane can be the chicken shit heel and either squiggle out of the cage when no one's looking, or I don't think Shane's going to win in the ring. I think he's going to escape the cage and beat. He's smart, so he's going to escape the cage and beat the monster that way.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me hopes they go the right way and let Braun just annihilate him and win after Shane does his crazy spots, because Shane's going to jump off something. I feel like it's the pirate ship. That's why they built it. Like,
well, Kevin Owens wanted to do that last year before they moved it to that way. He was like, I'm claiming the pirate ship. So it wouldn't surprise me. No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I mean that's the one thing you can predict from a Shane match, is that something crazy is going to happen and Shane's going to be the stupid guy that does it, because he's so fearless that one of these times he's going to get hurt. He's not the average entertainer. And I know I went on a little rant there and cut Mondo off, so I apologize. But it wouldn't surprise me if he did that either. So good call on the pirate ship thing.
Yeah, it's Braun for me. My pick is Braun, just because it's more of a hope. I think it's going to be Shane, but I'm picking Braun. And like you said, it's just the whole chicken shit heel thing. And, Shane's going to come out with his typical Shane O'Mac jersey with some insult on the back. But this is just not, a story that's buyable. I mean, you want the WWE universe, you want us fans to buy that Braun Strowman is being bullied. A 380-pound man, a brick shit-house man, is getting bullied. Stevie Wonder wouldn't buy that. Like, it doesn't make any sense storyline-wise. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make him like Roland earlier, like me dumb, me Braun, but it's not believable because we know Braun's not stupid. We've seen his matches. It's not like it's Festus. He's brand new, and Shane's like, haha, Festus dumb. Like, it doesn't make sense storyline-wise. And like Tim said, I think Braun's just being punished, and it's unfair because there's another workhorse. I mean, the dude literally is pushing him to be wrestling right now because he had a major injury again, and he's like, I'm still wrestling. And I didn't really like him in the beginning, but he's actually trying to work and improve his wrestling, improve his character. And this is what you do to him. Someone who's busting his ass for you.
And not only that, remember last year at this time, who stepped in when Roman had to go home?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And this is how they're paying.
I'm not saying he shouldn't have gone home, but
no, I'm just saying, but that's how they're. They literally, he had just gotten home. They had to fly him back pretty much literally like night of. Like they literally like, oh, you just got home. We're sending a plane for you. And he bails them out of a shitty situation. This is how they were paying at WrestleMania the following year.
Yeah. Next up is a singles match, and this is probably going to be the highlight of night one. If I had to, take a guess, is Cesaro and Seth Rollins. They've been building this up for weeks now. I think they have a great story coming into this. I think this is going to steal the show for night one, possibly the whole WrestleMania. It would be nice to see Cesaro get his WrestleMania moment, but I just have a feeling they're not going to let it happen. I'm going to go with Seth Rollins here to pick up the win.
Yeah, this match, and we talked about this in the group chat yesterday or the day before, that this match should be starting the pay-per-view. This match would be a 20-minute classic to start the pay-per-view. I'm going to pick Cesaro. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to pick Cesaro only because, like what Tim said, he hasn't had that moment. Rollins has. Rollins needs to be the veteran that's helping build some of these guys up, which he's done great with Cesaro, saying how he's wasted his talent and all this stuff. I think Cesaro finally gets that moment. I don't know if Vince passes out during this match because he finally does get the moment. But I think that Cesaro goes over here.
I agree. I mean, I never thought, like 10 years ago that I'd ever, see Claudio versus Tyler Black at the main event of WrestleMania or potentially close to WrestleMania. And now we're getting that. And this is the actually, like we said, should open the show because they said they want to pop. You can't tell me that place wouldn't erupt if they heard "Burn It Down." I mean, that's a crowd catcher. They're stupid. Even if he's a heel, people are going to scream it because they're excited to scream something besides at their TV. that and then it's just going to kill momentum because they're kind of just thrown in there, and it's not really fair because this is the match I'm also looking forward to. But Roland, I agree with you. I'm going with Cesaro because I think they have to do it right because Seth Rollins can afford to take the pin. He can take the loss without having the burial, stamp thrown on him. Cesaro, the internet will explode and say, "Oh, he's being buried," but it'll feel like that.
Again, this would be like
Yeah.
the 30th time they've buried this poor bastard. Just give him give him a win at WrestleMania. Is it that hard?
Right. That's why I think he's going to win because I think he finally gets it, and I think that's what sends the fans home happy. Because even if your WrestleMania kind of fizzles out, because at this point the crowd's going to be hot because it's the first crowd in a year. But if this was another WrestleMania, this crowd would be dead, and it'd be up and down. This match is really going to steal the show. I agree. I think, Roland, you got the Mr. Showstopper shirt on. I think Cesaro is going to be the showstopper in this match because he's going to want to show that he can do it, and I can't wait to see this match. And if he doesn't go over, then it's a damn shame.
Yeah. Next up is a tag team turmoil match. The winner is going to receive a shot at the women's tag team titles on night 2, so on Sunday. You have Lana and Naomi against Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, against the Riot Squad, against Natalya and Tamina, and Billie Kay and Carmella. I don't know. Does anybody care about the women's tag team titles anymore? Like, is it like Rollins raising his hand? Oh, okay. Like, I just forget that they're a thing for that there even is a women's tag team.
Sort of thing.
It's a good idea. I mean, I'm glad, but they should value the titles a little bit more, I think. I'm gonna go. This one's kind of hard to predict, but I'm gonna go with Lana and Naomi here. I think just simply to get the crowd, make the fans happy. Naomi's obviously really popular with the crowd, so just to make the fans happy, that's my reasoning for Lana and Naomi here.
Here's my hope for the night. This is my probably not going to happen, but I hope it happens. I hope Becky Lynch comes back, and I hope she teams with Bayley. Now, I don't think it's going to happen because they're not smart enough to do this, but they are 2 original 4 horsewomen, and Bayley has nothing to do on WrestleMania. Nothing. So it would make, and Becky Lynch has already posted, the spoiler or the potential spoiler about night 1. Wouldn't it make sense here to have her team with Bayley? I mean, I know one's a face, one's a heel. I mean, it doesn't matter. They have history. This is my hope. I don't think it's going to happen. I wish it will happen. And I think if it does happen, they win and they go to night 2. But to pick a winner out of these 5, I'm just going to go with the Riot Squad. I don't think they've had the chances that I think the fans are a little bit over on them too, to an extent. Not quite as much as Naomi and stuff, but to pick someone out of those 5, I'm going to pick the Riot Squad just because I feel like they deserve an opportunity.
You both had solid choices, and who I kind of teetered for too. Tim's, because I feel like that's the obvious booking of Lana also getting her revenge on Nia Jax for all this time. And she's got a movie coming out because she was on our local radio station pimping that out with Bruce Willis. So I feel like this is a way to them to cheaply market that movie too. So I think my realistic pick, I'm going with Tim. I'm saying it's going to be Naomi and Lana because I really don't care about this match, and that sounds terrible. It's not because of the performers. It's just this is the laziest booked thing ever. This was to give them something to do, but not give them something to do. And Roland, you took one of my ideas for WrestleMania moment, but I have it slightly different because I have 2 of them. I actually think it's going to be no more surprise tag teams. But I thought it was originally going to be the Iconics. I thought that was going to be a great WrestleMania moment, have them reunite and win the tag titles on night 2. And then they throw Billie Kay with Carmella. So I'm like, well, that's not happening. I think there'll be a segment. I think that Bayley's going to do her little hello segment with the door. And I think Becky Lynch will show up in a monster truck. I think she's come back in that monster truck because she never got to do it in front of a crowd. And I think it's mainly just she can be used on Monday night when Rhea Ripley is going to say, I'm the man. And I think it's leading up to that kind of surprise. Because like you said, they're not smart enough to do the whole, putting them together, at least give them the WrestleMania moment. But yeah, I think Becky Lynch is coming back as well, but I think it's going to be in a segment with Bayley. And my pick is, sorry to ramble on there, is Naomi and Lana just for the storyline.
We wrap up night 1 with the singles match for the SmackDown Women's Championship between Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Stephanie McMahon made the announcement this is the main event night 1. I think this is going to be a great match. I think both of these women can go. I think they're going to get plenty of time here. I wouldn't surprise me if this is a 20-minute match or something like that. I actually and we'll get into the predictions of the other matches later, but because of those, I'm actually going to pick a title switch here. I think Bianca Belair is going to take the titles from Sasha. I think Roland's on mute here.
Yeah, good call.
There we go.
I think they've been pushing. See, I don't see it on the screen when I mute my headset, so sorry. They've been pushing her so hard since the Rumble, and you have to have one of the Rumble people has to win at Mania, in my opinion, for it to make any sense. Because if both people win the Rumble, and they both lose, then what was the point of this build-up? I don't know if that's going to be Edge. We're going to get into that later, but I don't know if Edge is going to be the guy to win or not. We'll save that for then. That being said, right now, Sasha Banks is irritating as all hell. She's trying to be that in-between heel face. She's certainly not the face of this match. She's also not really the heel either, other than making that stupid laugh she does. So yeah, I'm going to go, I think, with Bianca Belair getting her moment. It might be a little bit too soon for me, like a rocket ship strapped to her. So I hope they don't let her get there and then fizzle. But I think that Bianca is going to win the match.
I think so too. I think, like you said, it kind of helps legitimize the Royal Rumble. I think she's going to win. Also, I think she does deserve it too, because she busted her ass in NXT and has shown. Because I'm sick of the internet wrestling community calling it a development show. It has been a developmental show in like 6 years. So most of the guys and girls on there are from other promotions like MLW, and they're established. They just need to be polished for TV, but it's not developmental. And she killed it on there. So I think she's going to kill it at Mania so she can get her moment. And she's a merch seller. So I see her getting it. It's well deserved. So Bianca Belair is my pick as well.
Well, and her story is also good too. Like it's a good story. But like I said, my only worry is they're shooting her to the moon. I hope that when she gets there, they know what to do. I hope that it's not right. I hope it's not like the Cesaro Shinsuke push where they get there and they're like, what do we do?
So that is our predictions for night 1 of WrestleMania. And again, next week we'll recap, how right and wrong we are. And let's move on to night 2. We're going to start things off with the singles match for the Raw Women's Championship between Asuka and Rhea Ripley here. I think one of two things is going to happen with this one. I think either Charlotte is going to get involved here, or I think I could see this where Becky Lynch returns, because Becky Lynch had to surrender the title and Asuka was the one that ended up getting it at Money in the Bank. So I could see one of the two things happening, either Charlotte or Becky Lynch interfere here. And I think they're going to cost Rhea Ripley the title, because I think they're going to want to get their revenge on Asuka. So I think Asuka's going to retain.
Kind of like Rhea Ripley jumped the line kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I'm surprised that where WWE doesn't, they love these triple threat matches. I'm surprised that Charlotte wasn't put in a triple threat match with Rhea and Asuka, based on the fact that, all their history together. That would have made sense for once for them to actually put a match that way. I just feel like Rhea Ripley, there's a lot of buildup with her, but I feel like they waited so long that to put the title on her at Mania would be kind of insulting to everybody else. Like, she hasn't been on the show producing every week. They've had the tease that she was going to be there, and then it took them a month and a half for her to show up. So and the only reason she's there is because of the Charlotte COVID test, supposedly. I don't know how true that was. I mean, some of that was true, some of it wasn't. Some of it was they were mad because she was filming a movie or that, plus the Andrade thing. No matter what, I think Asuka retains, whichever way it goes.
I think you're right. I think Asuka retains, and I had one fantasy hope. I had one fantasy booking hope. For those who don't know, that's Kairi Sane's entrance music. I was hoping Kairi Sane somehow got involved because of the pirate ship. I wanted it last year. I wanted her to swing from the pirate ship, make an awesome entrance. So part of me, this is my amazing prediction that I think will never happen, but I hope it does. I'm predicting Kairi Sane comes back to help Asuka retain. I don't think it's going to happen because realistically she's still in Japan, but they can fly in now, be tested, and they're allowed to do events because the AEW just had a bunch of Japanese wrestlers come in. So I'm hoping that maybe she secretly came in because they were talking about wrestlers quarantining. So that's my fantasy booking. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's what I really, really want to happen. That'll be my WrestleMania moment of the year. But I think it's just going to be a standard match with Rhea Ripley getting her win to try to show how dominant she is, because I think Vince really wants to give her a chance because of the Charlotte match that she had last year. I think she kind of impressed him, excuse me. So I think it's going to be Rhea Ripley. So tomorrow night, she's going to brag on Raw. Monday night, she's going to brag on Raw that she's the man now. And I think that's, Becky Lynch is, having already come back, is going to go, wait, who's the man? And I think it's going to set up a feud between them. So that's why I think it's going to be Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, no, I could see that too. How funny would it be though if like Charlotte does get involved, then you see Kairi Sane with the firework, the cannonball goes off, and she swings down like friggin' Tarzan off the pirate ship,
Right.
with her umbrella.
You could also maybe have Paul Burchill off the.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I like that one.
That was a deep dive memory
That's
there.
a good one. That's a good one. The pirate. That's a good one.
Gibson sitting on a joke all week. You know it.
Yeah. Woo woo woo. You know it.
Oh, no, I don't think Impact's gonna let him go yet.
Oh yeah, no. In WWE, you imagine though, like if some of these guys like McIntyre and Lashley came back only to have the same thing happen again, how pissed they'd be. They left wherever they were. Like, I'm so glad like that you brought up Cardona, and he's not ready to come back yet. If he does come back, it hasn't been enough time yet, because he needs to be a world beater for Vince to go, damn it, he's good, we should have used, why didn't we do that before with him? Because you're an idiot, that's why. Anyways.
Next up is a singles match between The Fiend with Alexa Bliss against Randy Orton. I hope that they put The Fiend over here. His comeback story after getting burned alive by Randy Orton. But they've done bad booking with The Fiend before, a la Goldberg. Goldberg. But I'm going to go with The Fiend here because that's what makes sense to me. Obviously, WWE doesn't always do what makes sense, but I'm just going to hold out hope that they put The Fiend over here.
Here's my one thing about this whole situation. Well, actually, two. There's two things that really bother me. This has been obviously the longest storyline they've had in a long time, with two and a half, three people, counting Alexa Bliss, to kind of fill the gap. One, the burns with Randy Orton. I know we've gone over that before. That's not even the biggest issue, but that's one of them. The second issue is how in the blue hell do they get the Fiend to stand still in the daylight for a picture of his costume for this friggin' WrestleMania? The motherfucker comes out from under the ring in the smoke and the fire, and he's come out twice, right? But yet they still get a picture of him to put on the poster against Randy Orton. Like, that bugs the hell out of me. Like, the Fiend is supposed to be this character that, was almost killed, comes back from the dead, but yet after he's done wrestling, or after he's done beating up Randy Orton, he goes out back, take a picture. I'm the Fiend. Here I am, all burned and stuff. Come on. Really? Like, I'm sorry. Every time I see it, I'm like, come on, you. Plus, in the daylight, you see how different the costume looks. You want that dark light so it looks all burnt and it looks, I don't know, whatever. But anyways, I know that was a ramble for no reason, but those are my two issues. I think for this to properly have paid off the way that it should, I agree with Tim. The Fiend has to go over here to get his revenge on Orton. They could keep this thing going. They could go all the way to SummerSlam with this if they had to. The way this story is going, if they do it right, this thing could go for the better part of a year. And I think the Fiend needs to win here so they kind of even up a little bit. And then if Orton decides, he goes nuts and decides to try to continue this, I could see that happening too. So yeah, the Fiend needs to win this match.
Yeah, he does need to win. And if he doesn't, like Tim said, it's just bye again. This character's done. If they don't book the Fiend properly, this character's done. It's already kind of like falling off in a bad way because, like you said, Roland, he's supposed to be this mysterious character now that just shows up when Alexa summons him. But, we have to do a photo shoot with him, please. So, Mr. Fiend, would you step over here? Okay. Oh, perfect. Oh, get that angle, Fiendy. Like, It just, like, it doesn't make sense to me either. And the other thing that bothers me is just how they're just don't know what they're doing with the storyline. They kind of just seems like they're throwing stuff on the wall to see what sticks. I think that potentially this will be a squash. I think it's just going to be the Fiend's going to make a grand entrance. They've already leaked his entrance gear. because Supercard has a picture of him with like this weird cloth black hood. So they're doing some sort of entrance because they want to make this a spectacle. And he's just come out and squash Orton. I think they're killing the storyline, which sucks because, like Tim said and you said, it could be a long-term storyline. It could go to SummerSlam, but they're not going to let it happen that way.
No, and I think at a certain point, I think Orton has had enough of it too, because it's kept him from pursuing championships and whatnot. But it's so good. Like it's one of the only things they have that's, even for the couple of like minor like things that bug me, it's still been like really good. The way they've had Bliss kind of fill the gap, and the Set Me on Fire Randy, and all just this whole thing has been so good for them. They need to pay it off correctly or keep it going correctly, whichever way they decide to go. It needs to be done right, because they've invested so much time into this. It would be an insult to all three of them, to Bliss, Orton, and Husky Harris. It would be an insult to all of them if they didn't pay this off the right way.
Yeah, I still think it's a squash, so I don't think they're going to pay it off right, which sucks. I have that feeling because they want to make the Fiend look unstoppable.
Well, and I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that
if that's the way they wanted it to go, if that's the way they saw it and whatever, and it builds to something. I'm fine with that. I am like, okay, this voodoo stuff happens, Orton gets ill, and friggin' the Fiend beats him in 3 minutes or whatever. I'm fine with that if it means something else happens. But if they just pay it, if they squash him like a Goldberg match and then nothing happens, that's my issue.
Yeah. And I'm, like you said, I'm happy for Alexa because at least she's getting to show off her acting chops here because she's been awesome. I've always liked Alexa, even when she was that awkward cheerleader on NXT where she was just kind of like throwing glitter. It was weird, but her wrestling sold me. So I was like, I'll put up with it. It's still developing her character. And she's just morphed into different characters, and she's pulling the Chris Jericho where she's reinventing herself. And that's what keeps you relevant in wrestling is you need to reinvent yourself. Even Undertaker reinvented himself. Like everyone has to. The Fiend. You don't have to be drastic, but reinvent yourself. And Alexa could always keep this gimmick. If they were smart, let this be her Fiend gimmick, which turns into that crazy girl. Use that for her title run. She can be nice or she can be evil. Like it works for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was kind of bummed they never came out with a mask for her. Like I was hoping that like her full transformation would have been like her wearing a mask that looked like a Raggedy Ann type like Fiend character. Like that would have been so badass.
Well, that's what I still are now.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying I hope that that would be really cool. And what they've done, like Mongo said, this has been with the Alexa thing being in it and Orton, like I said, if Orton had sold the burns a little bit more, again, it's nitpicking. And if the Fiend didn't take photos after he came from hell, this thing's been great. The part where they had Orton talking to Orton on the screen, like that thing was, that's awesome. Some of the stuff they've done has been great. So I hope they do it right. I hope they do us right. I hope they do them right, because everybody, the wrestlers, the talent, the fans all deserve this done correctly.
Next up is something that I never thought I'd be saying on this podcast. It is a Nigerian drum fight for the Intercontinental title between Big E and Apollo Crews here. I actually think this match is going to be sneaky good. I think I don't know if a lot of people are counting on this one to be one of the better matches, but I actually think this could be an underrated match. But I don't see Apollo Crews getting the title here. I think Big E's going to retain.
It's so tough because they've just recently switched Apollo's character to the real Apollo, and they've squashed him so many times. Like he's had 4 or 5 matches, he's lost them all. I'm not gonna say squash, but they've held him back 4 or 5 times, and you almost want to see Apollo go over, but you also feel like Big E should get his WrestleMania moment.
Mm-hmm.
So they've kind of, it wouldn't surprise me if I don't know if they know what they're doing on this, because I don't know which way to go. I really don't know which way to go, because at a certain point he turns into Cesaro, where you build him up, beat him down, build him up, beat him down, and it just, I feel like they're going to give Big E his moment because he's in Tampa, but I also feel like you're doing it at the expense of Apollo Crews, because you've had him change his character. He's been beaten a bunch of times, and he's still a believable character because he's changed his character. He's bad, or he's more evil now, or more the real Apollo. But I feel like they're building up for Big E to go back to Tampa and get that big win, Dude, this one's tough. And Tim's right. This one might steal the show of night two. I don't know if a lot of people are really thinking this is going to be a good. This should be a great match. Damn, you're putting me on the spot here. You know what? Well, no, because like I said, I feel bad picking Big E because I feel like it's so predictable. So like they're kind of like pointing you that way, and they're going to swerve you. So just for the sake of knowing the WWE product like I have, I'm going to pick Big E with the caveat I hope they do something good out of this because they can't keep squashing Apollo unless they're just going to write him off eventually. But I think Big E going back home, he's the face, he's at home, and that's the story they want. So I think Big E's going to retain.
I agree with you, Roland. And obviously, Tim, you both made great points. And like you said, Roland, this one was hard to pick. I have a notepad of just kind of like thoughts that I jotted down of like who I want to pick, who I was kind of leaning towards. But I've switched this one a lot too, because there's both ways it can make sense. I think it's going to be Big E. My ultimate prediction is I think Big E gets his WrestleMania moment, but I don't think it come at the expense of Apollo Crews because this match, no one knows what the stipulation is. I mean, if you listen to Busted Open Radio this week, even Big E didn't know what the stipulation was. I get the writers don't even know what the stipulation is. They're not going to really know till today. So I think it's just a glorified street fight, and they're going to just have cool aesthetics. I think that's really all it is. And like you both said, it's going to be sneaky good. This one's going to steal night two. This one's going to be the Cesaro-Seth Rollins match. It's going to be good. You have two great workers who can both go. Both can do different things in the ring, so visually it's going to look awesome. I think it's going to be Big E because I think he'll get his comeuppance. He's going to have to conquer because there's going to be shenanigans. There's going to be run-ins. There's going to be all kinds of – because they kind of alluded to it. He's like, oh, my ancestors will help protect me with the spirit of the drums. So it's going to be something. There's going to be something that's going to be shenanigan-like. So Apollo Crews won't have to look weak because it's going to look like Big E's going to have to go through an army to beat him. So that's the best way you can kind of book it, to not make him look weak, not make him lose steam, because that's not fair, because it'll just crush him if you just have Big E just destroy him.
Like I said, what's his record against Big E? Like 0-4, 0-5. Like at a certain point, you're just like, he's never going to beat him. Move on.
Yeah. And I mean, Big E's got Whale performing his entrance, so I feel like
Wale.
they wouldn't.
Wale.
I don't listen to. Okay, well, I don't listen to him, so I apologize to Wale. I thought it was Whale. In my defense, the English language is a clusterfuck in itself with how words are pronounced. So, people can bite me because I'm going to say things wrong because I'm a human being. Damn it! It's still real to me. Damn it!
Mongo shooting on the English language. I love it. But yeah, I mean,
on this podcast.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I will say this too, where we mentioned Wale, the shirts he's done for Wale Mania this year are pretty cool. Big E was actually wearing his Kofi Kingston Wale Mania shirt on his promo on SmackDown, which was cool. And it's celebrating the Black champions, which obviously Wale is Black, and it's cool that the WWE is allowing this to happen. It's definitely neat. It's a cool crossover. I believe FootJoy is also their sponsor, so it's kind of like I sound like Conrad's podcast now talking about it. I just think it's cool that they're allowing something like that to happen.
Next up is a singles match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Logan Paul is going to be involved in this match as well. Normally, I would say this is going to be a really good match, but with Sami Zayn's character the way it is now, where he's kind of like we said, the chicken shit heel kind of thing, the conspiracy theorist. I just don't think his character is going to allow him to put on a match that he's capable of, having. But I think Logan Paul is going to get involved here against Kevin Owens. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to go against my boy here and go with Sami Zayn.
You mean Sammy, I live in a van down by the river, hobo Zayn?
Yes.
The look he's going for now. I just it's unfortunate because I feel like in a normal circumstance this match could steal WrestleMania too.
Yeah.
If they let these two guys go. And I hope they do. I hope they do for some of it. But clearly Logan Paul, they've already planted the seeds of Logan Paul not really liking Sammy, but also Owens pushed him the other day, not this past Friday, but the Friday before. So, I'm hoping if Logan Paul's involved at all, I hope it's to turn on Sammy. I hope that it was kind of a swerve by Logan Paul, because like I say, he went to his training facility and, he was like, why are you here? Like, what do you, so I'm just because I feel like they're more or less putting Logan Paul in there for the eyes. There's really no storyline. This whole match was just thrown together too. So I feel like to keep the conspiracy theory going, Owens has to win this match for that conspiracy theory to keep going, unless they're going to just kill it. So I'm gonna pick Kevin Owens.
I'm a Kevin Owens mark. I can't give up on my boy. I'm probably gonna be wrong every time I predict, but damn, I can't. No, we got to stick together. Us KO heads got to stick together. So fight Owens, fight for me. It's Kevin Owens, like Roland said. It's got to keep that Sami Zayn storyline going, that paranoia, because when his documentary premieres, he can use WrestleMania footage to cap it off. I think. Yeah, you're right. I think it's going to be like the Mike Tyson special enforcer swerve against, Michaels at Mania 14. But I also think, and this is my other predictions coming in, Gronk gets involved because I think he's going to help Kevin Owens so he can really use conspiracy, because Gronk's Tampa Bay Super Bowl champion. Gronk lives in Tampa, technically still under contract of V. Basically part of his release was, said he'd make some moments for them. It's the off season. Doesn't have to get physical. He can just kind of come in and just be an appearance like he did at, Mania a few years ago. So I think Gronk gets involved just so they can have that cross collab with the NFL that they always salivate for. And I think he gets involved with either Logan Paul, like chasing him out, or he does something to hurt Sammy, and Sammy can use that as Logan Paul turned me, Gronk turned me, the whole world's turning on me. So that's why I think that's going to happen. And I think Kevin Owens wins.
Gronk comes out with one of Jimmy Snuka's coconuts, and it's a Roddy Piper's Pit all over again.
Yes. Or he just spikes him.
yeah. He uses a football instead of a coconut. That's not a bad prediction. I hope that comes true. Like I said, I don't see any possible way that Sammy can win this match without killing the conspiracy storyline. He's got to keep losing. He has to. It's got to be building to something more, I would hope.
Next up is a singles match for the United States Championship. You have Riddle, the champion, against Sheamus. I've been kind of going back and forth on this one. I think this actually could be a pretty good match as well. I'm not the biggest fan of Riddle characters now. The bro kind of surfer dude, which has always kind of been his character, but now he's kind of almost getting it stupider, if that makes more sense, sense. But my gut is telling me that they'll put the belt on Sheamus here, so I'm gonna go with Sheamus for the win.
I predicted Sheamus to beat Drew McIntyre a while back. At a certain point, Sheamus has to win something, right? Yeah. But I feel like for whatever reason, Vince McMahon, when he sees Riddle now, just like giggles and he makes him laugh. So like that's why they keep doing this stupid shit with him. I feel like Vince is like, that's good shit. So I feel like for whatever reason, that's why they keep doing this dumb stuff with Riddle, because it just makes Vince chuckle.
It's 12. What do you expect?
Yeah, well, and this is just one, lately with the him being like a burnout too, like the high references with the RVD, the Hall of Fame, and it just made. But this one's another one that's tough to pick, because you can't keep having Sheamus lose and him be even revered as an opponent, because sooner or later they're gonna be like, dude, you lost to this guy, you lost to this guy. When's the last time you won anything? And Sheamus also beat Riddle a while back. So I think Riddle retains.
I agree. This one can go either way, and I feel like it needs to be Sheamus. Like you said, they can't keep having him lose. You're not going to take him seriously. I mean, talk about a Quentin Tarantino of a career. I know I mentioned it on previous podcasts, but Sheamus came in white hot, winning the world title, winning the Royal Rumble. He kind of went backwards, winning the tag titles, winning the singles belt. So it's weird. He just went completely backwards. So
all the way down to hitting the guy with a scooter.
Yeah. So I just feel like he's going to lose, because Vince is like, let's keep it going and just keep Riddle, because he makes me laugh, like you said. And sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. No, I'm just kidding. But he likes to make Riddle likes to make him laugh. And he's just, like Tim said, a stupid stoner gimmick now. And it's just not enjoyable. He was more enjoyable at NXT when he was the former UFC fighter that is coming in to, fight and work hard. He could have had great matches, but instead you give him a dumb character that no one cares about. Of course is Vince going to let him keep the strap, because he makes Vince chuckle. And like you said earlier, he's just going to make stupid jokes and he's just going to giggle as he walks by.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, it's not like their match won't be good. It's just the character is not very good, bro.
Also, see how that fake forgetting your script doesn't sound authentic at all? Because that's what I threw in there as a little joke. If anyone
Yeah,
knows that
no,
awful
I caught it.
segment on Raw.
Yeah, with Oscar, yeah.
See, that's what happens when you try to make it a work. It looks forced.
Yep.
That was so stupid. It wasn't a work. They think we're stupid. He literally thought his line because he's like, whatever, I don't care. He probably thought it was being recorded.
Yeah, he's like, I don't remember. Take two. And they're
right?
like, oh, dude,
and this is who we want in WrestleMania. Someone that, like, no, he let him go back to his old gimmick because otherwise, no one really cares about this match. I hate to say it, but Sheamus needs to win. And that's my prediction. It's just, I don't know.
Next up is the tag team match for the women's tag team titles. We talked about the tag team turmoil earlier. So the winner of that will face Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the titles. Again, this match is just kind of there for me. I don't think it's going to be that great of a match, but I think Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are going to retain. I don't see a title switch here.
The only way there's a title switch is if my fantasy booking of Bayley and Becky comes true. So yeah, I totally agree. If the fantasy booking thing does come through, I'm glad we're recording this for all of us. If one of the, because one, if one of us has that moment, I'm like, yeah, all right. So, this one's mine and I hope it happens. But if it doesn't happen, no matter who wins that match, unless it's Bayley and Becky, no one cares. And it's unfortunate because Nia and Shayna, some of the stuff they've done has actually been better as it's gone on. They still don't really seem to like each other a lot, but they coexist well. And it should, right now the tag titles don't mean quite as much because of it, but they're also kind of holding it together in a way which is entertaining with Reginald and all this stuff, which is also, I didn't think of it till now. This is also a reason why, what if, and this is again way outside the box, but what if the Reginald thing's a swerve to help Carmella get the tag titles? What if Carmella and Billie Kay win and Reggie actually turns and Carmella gets the title? Because if you remember right, Reggie said, I was doing it for you. I've been doing so. Like, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, that's a good thought.
But I mean, none of us had Billie Kay and Carmella winning. But I'm just going to throw that out there to the universe and see what happens. But
that's a good thought. Like, I didn't even think of. Hey, look, I thought I was going to have a Sammy Guevara moment. There you go. We're going to christen this the Sammy Guevara moment right there.
I could have two in one match. I mean, they both can't be right, but I mean, that wouldn't surprise me one bit though. Like the way they, thinking of it, like maybe.
I feel like we're giving WWE too much credit with some of the storylines. I feel like these are more of our hopes. We're just trying to force it in reality. Like you said, you're throwing it out to the universe and hoping something sticks. I agree with both of you. I don't see them losing the straps unless it's some sort of fantasy booking or, like you said, now Carmella getting Reggie involved. But is this the breakup? Like they've been teasing for months and months. Is this the tension? Like, what is going on with that? It's like, are they breaking up? Aren't they? It's not good booking the way they're doing it because it's like, we just want it done now at this point because you've teased it too much. It's like when they teased the Sasha Banks Bayley match, you teased it for like 3 years. And like, you just, long-term booking is good when done right. Long-term booking when you don't know what you're doing is not long-term booking. And that's what this feels like.
A la Retribution. We have no idea what we're doing with them, but we're going to carry it out for months and months and months. And then we're just going to end it because, and here's the other thing that I don't think it's going to happen at Mania, but I feel like you almost need to build up to have a match where Ronda faces Shayna if Ronda does come back. So at some point Shayna needs to be away from Nia, but we'll see what happens there.
Next up is the main event. It is a triple threat match for the Universal Championship. You have Roman Reigns against Edge and Daniel Bryan. I think this is going to be a great match. I could see this one going really long. I could see this going a half hour easily. I think it's going to be a really long match. I think it's going to be a really good one. Probably going to be the best match of the night on night 2. I really like Edge's character now where he's kind of making that slow kind of heel turn. Which is awesome. I think he's going to win. I think Edge is going to win the title, but I think he's going to pin Daniel Bryan. I don't think they're going to make Roman Reigns lose, and that's going to give Roman Reigns some beef and some heat going forward. So I think this feud is long from over, but for right now, I think Edge is going to become the new champion.
The only way you take the title off Roman Reigns is in a triple threat match, and you have him not be in the decision. So you're 100% right. That was my thing too, is that even if Daniel Bryan's, WrestleMania 2 happens, he's going to pin Edge.
Yeah.
Or he's going to make Edge tap. Whatever, I feel like Roman loses. I do agree that I feel like the title doesn't stay with the head of the table. I feel like the storyline continues. But I don't know if I can pick a winner here. I feel like you almost want Daniel Bryan to steal it, so then you have Roman pissed off at him and Edge, who's continuing that heel turn, to be pissed off at him.
Mm-hmm.
You came into this match, you're supposed to be me and Roman. I feel like for some reason, and I could be totally wrong, but I will say this: Roman does not leave with the title, and I'm going to say that Daniel Bryan somehow takes it to then continue a feud with both of them. Whether it's he loses it, then next pay-per-view or whatever, but I'm going to go with WrestleMania Part 2.
Those are both solid choices. And this match is so hard because Friday I was Team Daniel Bryan. Thursday I was Team Edge. It's so hard because both bookings make sense and both would make the fans white hot. You have Edge, who came back exactly 10 years ago from night 2. He had to retire and drop the belt. Exactly 10 years ago to the day, April 11th. 2011 is when he had to retire. So that could be a storyline moment. That could be his rated R superstar gimmick coming back, like Tim said, his like psychotic rated R superstar gimmick coming back. WrestleMania 2, it's a merch seller. That could happen. I'm going with my gut though, and I'm going with Edge. And I think it's going to be an Edge and Daniel Bryan feud. And I have 2 scenarios that I'd love to see happen, but probably won't, but that would make the best way to send fans happy. You'll get the highest subscribers to Peacock. The Rock's going to come back and give a rock bottom to Roman Reigns, and that's how he's going to get taken out of the match. That's my ultimate fantasy booking. That's what I'm hoping is my Sammy Guevara moment. The Rock comes back to set up for Hollywood, not next WrestleMania, but the WrestleMania after. Gives Rock a year to kind of work out his schedule and train, because he'll be done filming a lot of his major movies around that time. So what better way to just send a what the hell moment to the crowd? Better way to get every mainstream media headline than The Rock coming back to WrestleMania. So that's, I think, is going to happen to take out Roman Reigns. Realistically, it'd probably Brock Lesnar, but I'm going with The Rock and I'm putting that as my mega pick. So I'm going with the Edge going over, because obviously, like you both said, I'm not going to beat that horse, but Roman's not eating the pan or taking the tap. It's either Daniel Bryan or Edge. So Edge is going over. He's legitimizing WrestleMania. Him and Bianca, they're going to show, look, both our winners went on to WrestleMania and headlined. And then Edge can feud with Daniel Bryan and drop the title to Daniel Bryan. So it helps Edge get his comeback going like he wanted. It pushes Daniel Bryan to get his last title on like he wanted. Then Daniel Bryan can retire next year. So that's my long-term hope and booking. Those are my predictions, but it's Edge.
Well, and the Rock thing, where it's a triple threat match, anything goes.
Yeah.
So that fits into that mold too. So we've all had our, what's going to suck is when we're all wrong. Like none of these, fuck, they left. So, but we all made really good points. So I hope that a couple of these come true, and I hope that we're legitimately surprised by some of these moments. That's the biggest thing. You have the reason that WrestleMania is big is because it can't be all of it predictable. Like, yeah, some of it will be and whatever, but they need to have the swerves. They need to have the certain moments where you don't see stuff quite coming, but you could see it happening, like the Rock thing. You don't see it coming, but it could happen. Or like the thing with Reggie, you don't really think about it till maybe it's us being too smart a mark to kind of going a little bit further than being smarter than the booker. But hopefully, no matter what, it's a Super Bowl, and they've built to this. And I hope that we leave Sunday night. Saturday night, we might be like, meh. But I hope Sunday night we leave WrestleMania with like a hell yeah, that was worth the wait.
Yeah.
And one of the big reasons I think this Rock thing could happen is NBC owns Peacock. Obviously, what's one of the big shows on right now? Young Rock. Mm-hmm. What better way to also do cross promotion? So, like you said, yeah, I'm armchair quarterbacking here and overthinking, but if I was running Peacock, what better way is even for a cross promotion thing to, hey Rock, can you do a quick little spot WrestleMania? I'm sure Vince won't. Oh, look, Rock's already in the dressing room. It makes sense. And like you said, sometimes we overthink things. Sometimes we hope WWE thinks this way, but then they don't. But like you said, I just hope either way that we're wowed, because we want that moment, because it's been a long year for a lot of people, and we all need to be kind of sent home. Man, this has been our entertainment. We've been loyal to you guys. We've been watching you through, the pandemic era, which we all commit really sucked for a lot of it, because it's just the atmosphere says, now we get our atmosphere. We get our WrestleMania back. Please send us home happy. Don't give us another fast lane type pay-per-view where like, really, I wasted 7 hours between 2 nights watching that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm glad they were smart enough to separate this. I'm hoping going forward with the one night, I'm hoping these matches are only WrestleMania should be pretty much title matches and like one grudge match. And that's it. There should be 6 or 7 matches, one night, 4.5 hours tops, and that's it.
Yeah,
like this is almost
not a vending machine.
much. Right. This is almost too much. So I'm glad they did it this way. Like I said, night one's kind of like the pre-show night. I mean, there's a couple of good things that could happen, but there's a lot of crap no one cares about. No offense to the performers, but yeah, like you said, people like Bailey have nothing to do. So hopefully next year they learn from all this. They have the title. I'm not saying it needs to be like Night of Champions where every title is defended, but the titles need to at least be represented on the show. Whether you have certain tag matches with like this, whatever way you go. It needs to be that. You can't have 5 grudge matches, a qualifier for a title match later on. Like you need to have, like, that's what WrestleMania is supposed to be. And, you imagine, like I said, one night of this it'd be like a 9-hour show.
Oh yeah.
I would literally be looking for something to gag myself with.
Having been in attendance to WrestleMania 34, which was like 8 hours, me and Mark and Andy and Nick, and we can all attest. By the time Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar got up there, we were dead tired. It was almost 1 a.m. when I got back to my hotel, which was only like a mile down the road. It's mentally exhausting to sit through 7-8 hours. So WWE, if someone from you listens, which I doubt they do, but if you do, we don't want 8-hour pay-per-views. We want 4 hours of quality for WrestleMania. 5's pushing it. Don't give us 8 hours, because you're really not going to care about the product, because you're just so tired. And if you do the roller coaster like you always do of booking, like, yay, yeah, it's even more exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, night one's
quantity.
Kind of like
it's quantity over quality. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Sorry I cut you off, but you're 100% right. Quantity is their thing. We can give you all this. It's like, no, we want quality. Give us 5 quality matches, like an NXT friggin' banger show, and we'll be happy.
Right. And that's why TakeOver was so successful, this week. That's why it was 2 nights, but both nights had quality matches. And if you didn't get a chance to watch
2 hours a night, they weren't 4 hours a night.
Yeah, if you didn't get a chance to watch Stand Deliver, you need to, because it was a solid show from bell to bell. And it shows that when a card's done right, look at other promotions. When they build a card, they try to build their, like you said, 4, 5, 6 best matches. Not, here's 37 matches. Great, but 3 of them are the only ones I care about. I don't care about the other 34, so I'll sit in the car, I guess.
So that is our rundown and our predictions of WrestleMania 37. Like you said, next week we'll recap how right or wrong we were. A lot of surprises that we predicted. So hopefully some of those come true. And like I said, I just hope that we're all entertained. These times that we're in, it's nice to have some entertainment to look forward to. And so, looking forward to WrestleMania.
What are we going to do after that, though? We have a big surprise for some of you fans. We're going to try something completely new. So next week, we're going to recap. The following week, the 24th, we have plans. What are we going to do, Tim?
We are going to cover TNA for the very first time on this podcast with Lockdown from 2005. It was the very first Lockdown pay-per-view, headlined by AJ Styles and Abyss. There's also Team Nash versus, I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. But
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get fans kind of excited that we're going other, like, we want to be a wrestling show, not a WWE show, not an AEW show, not a NXT show, not a WCW show. We want to give you all of it. And with the network switching to Peacock, this is the perfect time for us to go to the Impact Plus app. You can get the Impact Plus app if you're a wrestling fan for $72 for a full year. That's a great deal. And there's a lot of good content there. I've thumbed through it a little bit. There's some cool stuff like WWE does where you have some of the behind the scenes stuff talking. It's like it's definitely worth. I would pay the $72 because it's worth it. And then after 1 year you don't like it, just get rid of it. but I think that's your best thing. You can't beat it. And with Peacock taking the network over, we had to kind of think outside the box. And I think it's a perfect time. And this was the very beginning of their actual monthly pay-per-views when they left their weekly pay-per-view format. So this is, when TNA was just starting to climb.
No, I agree. I'm excited to cover that, and excited to go over predictions next week. See, Bruce, we're not afraid to go to TNA pay-per-views.
So everyone, take care. We'll be back next Saturday at 5. Enjoy WrestleMania, both nights of it. We'll recap it for you guys next week. Until then, I'm Tim Kurt.
I'm Roland Fulis.
And I'm Mongo.
And this is Wrestling with Wrestling Past and Present.
I hope you're all having a nice day.